You want to stand out. There's apparently, what I just learned, 18,000 realtors in this business.
Yeah, it's gone up, eh?
Yeah, it was 14,000 last month. Is it really 18,000? Anyways, doesn't matter. Even 14,000, that's a lot. How do you establish yourself to have this authoritative voice in our market when there's so many distractions, when so many people are producing the same type of content online? So these tips are things that I've done, like actually practiced in my business over the years. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny Woon.
I am Toni Singh.
And we're here at the In the House podcast filming our next episode.
8 creative ways to build credibility. This is an interesting topic.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
I wanted to talk about this because I recently hosted a webinar on marketing.
At Oakwin?
At Oakwin. And everybody was so concerned about the logo. And I'm like, nobody cares about the logo.
So I think for what we wanted to talk about today, then it's perfect because we're going to talk about the typical ways that people try and build credibility. Nothing wrong with the typical ways. And the second portion is getting into that more creative side of how could you build credibility in a different way, especially if you're a new licensee.
Yeah, thinking out of the box. So building credibility and expertise as a new agent is somewhat of like a chicken and egg. Like, which one comes first, right?
I think they go hand in hand in tandem.
Exactly. And so what is an agent to do? And these are some typical ways that you and I have built our credibility, which over time, it takes a long time, as you know, to build a reputation, but takes a quick second to ruin that, especially when things are captured on social media.
I mean, luckily you and I don't have to worry about that.
We don't. I'm a good girl.
What are some typical ways to help build credibility?
Obviously, getting client testimonials.
Yeah, but even before, right? It's like you need the client first.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If you want to start there, sure. I would say when you have helped a client, get them to share their story.
So awesome. I mean, that's actually a bit more creative. Sometimes people don't focus there, right? What are the typical ways that people use to build credibility? I'll let you kick us off.
Thank you for asking. One of the biggest things, which I regret that I started really late, is getting client testimonials. And if you have worked with some clients, ask them for a review as soon as they move into their home. I'd say about like 48 hours to no more than like 7 days. Send them a link, send them a request to give you a review either on Google, on Rew, R-E-W, and ask them to rate you, the number of stars or have a little blurb. But they are going to be your social proof that you can do the job successfully.
For sure. And I get how that could be scary for a lot of new licensees in particular, right?
Why? It's because they don't want to bother their clients.
And they
feel
also,
like it's super cheesy to ask for a
sure.
review.
But also they might not have that credibility in themselves yet, right? It might be a scary thing.
Cool. Yeah. But again, you have to build it one at a time.
Another way that people typically have used in the past is using those client stories as case studies. If you wanted to expand on that, like, do you think that there's a difference between in the delivery? I think a more creative way, I know we're not supposed to head there yet, but a more creative way of doing this successfully is having your clients on camera through video and having them say it for you. That could be a more creative component to the realtor specifically just writing about it on a blog or something.
Right. And that's in real time. So one of the things that the West One team does is she's really good at it. Samantha gets her clients on the phone or FaceTime and actually records,
That's
of course,
such a good idea.
Of course, with permission, records the testimonial. And so we actually have been creating videos. Thank you so much for this, Miranda. Putting together videos with, you know, the little, what do you call that thing? The little line that moves. And then with the little capture of transcript.
I don't know what it is.
So one of the good things that I have to thank Miranda and Samantha for doing is the audio testimonials. So Samantha would get her client on the phone or on FaceTime and get permission to record the testimonial. And then we recycle that information, put it into a post using waveforms and transcripted words. And you actually hear the client's voice.
This is a perfect example of how to turn a typical way into a more creative aspect of building credibility.
It's been awesome.
Love it. We need another example of a typical way.
A typical way would be,
and these are not wrong. They're just
they're just,
you know,
that
old school.
like common sense.
Yeah. Not so common for some people.
Not so common for some people, but you should be putting it into your practice, into your business, is niching down in your education. What I find is everybody wants to try to cover everything. And this business is a lot of information.
If you cover everything, you cover nothing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a really good quote. So if you focus on investments, then what do you talk about? Price per square foot. You talk about the return on investment, the expenses that an investor would incur. So go on develop like a mini series or develop like a certain niche into your business.
That's great advice.
What's another typical?
Being a connector. Do you want to say more about that?
Yeah. Okay. So naturally, what you want to be is the resource, the one-stop shop for your client. And naturally, your clients will call you a couple years down the road. Hey, do you know a home renovator? Do you know a plumber? Do you know a gutter cleaner? You get that often, right?
Very.
Do you know a landscaper? Do you know an insurance company? So be the person who does all the referrals, because what happens is that you get referrals back when you're not expecting it.
For sure. And there's other creative ways of implementing something like that too, right? Even by way, well, it's a business idea. You could create a program too.
A program for referrals.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So add that into your practice. Another way is what I've done is showing your accolades. I think this is one of the biggest things that a lot of realtors do, is kind of showing all the awards that they've earned over the years.
Honestly, I know that we're supposed to do that. I don't like doing that.
Yes, but you get it. I mean, here's the thing. We do that to ourselves, like, oh, we don't want to talk about it. But at the end of the day, you should celebrate the little wins too.
I know. I'm being more in that space as well. But it is true. It is good advice. And it is important for other people to be able to see how active you are within your business and community. So let's shift the conversation into some more creative ways in order to build that confidence and trust with clients.
Right. And so the reason why, again, I wanted to have an episode on creative ways is because you want to stand out. There's apparently, what I just learned, 18,000 realtors in this business.
Yeah, it's gone up, eh?
Yeah, it was 14,000 last month. Is it really 18,000? Anyways, doesn't matter. Even 14,000, that's a lot. How do you establish yourself to have this authoritative voice in our market when there's so many distractions, when so many people are producing the same type of content online? So these tips are things that I've done, like actually practiced in my business over the years. Number one, I wrote writing Q&A articles.
So okay, I want you to expand on that for sure.
I will.
And a question would be, if you're a new licensee and you don't quite yet have that expertise and knowledge, they might be questioning like, oh, how would I actually write a Q&A expert article when I don't have enough experience to do it? Is there any tips that you have on that too?
Yeah. So, okay. So going back to writing Q&As, when back in the days when there was still that paper being printed, there was a section called Ask the Experts in the Burnaby Now newspaper. So I was one of the experts of the, I think, 9. There was like a lawyer, there was a mortgage broker, there was a car salesman. So, all the insurance broker. I was one of the experts who wrote a question and replied with an answer. And there would be people who would ask me a question that are very common, and I would answer them. Maximum, 150 words. It would include my headshot, include my contact information. Got a couple leads from there.
Yeah,
so
I could
it
see
actually
that.
really worked. Your question is, if someone is new and they don't have something to write, what do they write about?
No, sorry, I asked the question. I have some ideas too, but you're probably going to say my idea.
Okay, you share.
Well, I mean, we get a lot of great content as well from our regulatory bodies. It's also possible that you could have a look at the important up-to-date content that we're aware of as professional licensees, and you could even showcase some of that, right? But through a different medium, I guess.
Yeah, and summarize it in your own words. And, sometimes the readings are a couple minutes long, but you want to just...
It also helps your own learning, right? So it's kind of a twofold thing.
Exactly.
Very beneficial.
Yeah. The funny thing is when you're actually repeating it in your own words, then you're actually more comfortable saying it out to your clients too.
Absolutely. And you can better integrate the information.
Yeah. Another thing that I did, I always entered local contests, so I could be recognized as a
I
neighborhood
did
expert.
notice that you had done that way back in the day for Burnaby. I have never entered a contest.
And well, I guess by the time this gets released, we can actually announce it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so we're actually winners.
We're going to announce it now.
Yes. We can announce officially with the Burnaby Now, we are Oakland Realty Northwest's favorite new business under 1 year. We are the winner.
It was such a great event too, and I do love the office in that location.
Thank you. West One Real Estate
welcome.
Team favorite Facebook page winner. Props to Miranda. West One Real Estate Team favorite Twitter feed winner. West One Real Estate Team favorite Instagram. We were a finalist, so somebody else.
I mean, that's still a good. That's still
a good
great.
spot. We're in a good spot. I won as favorite realtor.
Yeah, you'd be one of my favorite realtors.
Thank you. And I was a finalist as a favorite local business person.
I mean, I think that that's pretty impressive. Let's clap.
Thank you.
So obviously, guys, you can see that creatively thinking outside of the box and getting your name out there, maybe submitting your name and company or whatever your unique services are, and positioning yourself as either an expert or reaching out to some of these other mediums of communication, I want to call them. They're not all articles. It could be digital or in print.
Yes.
Can be very useful, and it is a different way of building your business.
I also want to add that it's nice to win these awards, but what the greatest thing is that we're promoting all the other businesses because we do put on our social media to vote, and we often put out some of our favorites in our post and our captions, and the winner, whoever votes, gets like a gift card usually to Metrotown Mall.
It's a win-win-win.
So yeah. This is something that I do almost at every strata that property that I own, is I volunteer as a strata council.
And there's something to be said about that. Very important to know what's happening on the building that you're living in, and what is something else that you would need to do as well if you are a licensed realtor volunteering on your own strata council.
You have to disclose. So you have to disclose to the real estate board and to BCFSA that you are part of a strata council. You also have to let the strata council's members know that you are a real estate agent.
Perfect.
So So anyways, me volunteering as a strata council member, I've managed buildings of up to 120 units to small strata councils of around 15, 16 units. And they're fun. You learn a lot. You learn how strata councils run their business. You get to learn all the different trades that are out there. You learn how to read budgets. You learn how bylaws are amended.
What are some of the best property management companies that you have worked with while on a strata?
I'll be honest with you. It's not the company. It's the individual.
Good. I'm glad that you said that. Similar to realtors, right?
Totally.
You could have different realtors at the same brokerage and have different experiences.
So I want to add that by serving, it doesn't take a lot of time. It's once a month. Sometimes if it's a smaller strata, it could be like a meeting once every few months. And nowadays you don't have to actually meet at a location. They're typically by Zoom now. So I'm really excited to be joining the council into the building I just
You haven't
moved
had
into.
your first meeting yet?
Well, so one thing to note that if you just moved into the building, you actually have to wait until the next AGM to happen before
You have to get voted in too,
Yeah,
right?
you have to get voted in. And I'm really good at nominating myself. I keep telling my partner, I was like, I can't wait to get on strata for this because I know there's already things that I want to add. So yeah.
Okay. Perhaps another way for our relationship builders is joining a membership or affiliate to network, to develop relationships within the community, and perhaps you eventually could structure yourself as an expert in your field, but it's more so to form those connections, relevant connections first, depending on the organization.
I think it's quite easy to join these type of groups because they're like-minded in a way already. So you're not having to force yourself to be friends outside of that commonality. So, guilty by association, assume kind of like a leadership role or form like a subcommittee with that group. And I think you come a long way just by being part of something bigger.
I'm in a detached.
Yes.
So Block Watch Committee.
Yes. I was on the Block Watch Committee.
When you used to live in Burnaby in a house.
In a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be a great way, well, obviously to be kept up to date with things that are happening in your neighborhood. They look at things like crime, what's actually happening as of late. You can be aware of all that and just forming those relationships with people as their go-to.
The reports that you were mentioning, such a great material to show my clients where the hot spots are, of where the thefts are happening, where the break-ins are happening. And it's backup. This is proof that these are the calls that they're getting in certain neighborhoods.
Yeah. Oh, this is an important one that you had mentioned earlier.
I did. I mentioned to update your LinkedIn, such a useful tool. And I know LinkedIn was probably one of the first pioneers to establish like an online presence of yourself and your resume online. I recently updated my LinkedIn earlier this year, and the number of views that I get, it's actually just amazing how many people like come across your page and like look you up.
Do you have a premium account?
I don't.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of adding to it as a premium account only because I heard they have very good like strategies to try to tap into.
I think it'd be a great
other
way
agents,
to garner further exposure for Oakland Northwest.
Totally. But I added this in because the most important part is the recommendation, is the testimonials. So imagine getting other realtors and colleagues, inspectors, all your vendors that you work with to write a recommendation or review of you. And so I find this is a perfect platform for it because it would be kind of weird for them to review on Google, for example, right?
Well, it's relevant, right? This is a relevancy thing.
Yeah, it's like work experience, work relationship So I just feel like this is the best platform for it. Apply for awards outside of the real estate awards.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. Other than my basketball trophy, I would say, but even just like team things that I've done with volleyball,
Recreational,
right? Because
hobbies.
of course that expands my network, but it also shows that I'm competitive. It shows that I'm a team player. What?
Nothing. You are both of those things.
Okay. But that I have interests outside of my comfort zone besides real estate.
Yeah, for sure. If we're talking about community, and that's been a hot topic recently, even with the event that we just went to, it shows that you're well-rounded. I actually have taken this. The mini courses to get certificates of completion for other, I would say, niche markets or specialities.
In this business, you're a student of life, and there are so many courses that are offered through all the different associations. And so we really, is there maybe some that you recommend to take?
I mean, I think it's based on what actually interests the individual. Like the luxury home specialist one is an additional accreditation that we have done. So it's just a little bit extra, you know?
Yeah, there's ones out there like seniors real estate specialist. There's a few that I'm taking as a managing broker as well. That's not necessary, but I'm just wanting to play a really good position as a managing broker in this business. I remember as well the best return on investment is my building construction course that I took at BCIT. What a great have a knowledge, a base
It's a good
just
idea
to have. And then it's been really helpful in my business.
This is a different one. Depending on your experience with this stuff, it might seem pretty out there, but creating and manifesting your ideal clientele through energy work.
Okay. So how does that build credibility?
Because you're visualizing and manifesting your ideal clientele.
Okay.
And when you're aligned with that clientele, it's easy to have conversation. But this is what I'm saying. There's not a direct link. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And if you're looking to shift your business, like let's say we've talked about before, if you're working with a variety of different types of people, you're not really focused on any type of niche. So it's kind of the creative side to the one that we talked about earlier, which was finding a niche. But how? Well, you can create it yourself. We can have a separate episode on that in the future. Maybe we'll bring a specialist in to discuss that. But yeah.
And the final one?
The final one is matching your marketing message to that niche and ideal clientele, which seems, so cookie cutter, match the marketing, blah, blah, blah. Like Jenny talked about logos. However, if it's something that's come from creation, something brand new that you're super jacked up and excited about, then you can come up with other things that have never been done before.
Thanks for those bonus ones. So yeah, like we said, credibility is built over time and organically. More than anything, stay humble, continue to educate yourself, build up your reputation, surround yourself with kind people, with the right people that will only elevate your business. And as well, to affiliate yourself with very good leaders like myself and Toni. Want to remind you guys to go on our website, inthehousepodcast.ca, to go onto our join page where you can fill out your information, and it'll go directly to us if you are looking to join or transfer to another brokerage.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome. Yeah, thanks, guys. I hope these 10 tips have you're going to be implementing them into your business, and we're really looking forward to seeing some of the feedback after you have added it to your practice.
Let us know your results.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.